That's what we're talking about. Gloria ki te atu I rungarawa he maungarongo ki tono iwi rungu I te whenua. Gloria nui me te hōna re te matua kaharau I konei. I ngā wahi katoa, I noa nei, a ke tonu atu, amene. Ko te mihi tuatai ki te atua. Kui nei te tīmatanga me te whakamutu ngā ngā mea katoa. Nō reira, e nā waka, e nā reo, e nā rangatiro ngā hau e whā. Tēnei te mihi atu ki a koutou. Kue ke mai nei, te tautoko, te kaupapa o te rā. Anei te tautoko, te kaupapa. No more control. Aotearoa New Zealand speaks today. Because you have turned up today, people, from all across the country of Aotearoa New Zealand. You are the champions today. You are the wise ones. You are the clever ones. So give yourselves a round of applause for being here today. Just for those that don't know who I am, my name is Rewi Hare, and I am a part of the Freedoms and Rights Coalition team. We are your everyday New Zealanders, contributors to society. We are your teachers, your doctors, your nurses, your entrepreneurs, your movers and shakers, your people that make Aotearoa a free place. We, the people of Aotearoa, New Zealand, from the top of the North Island to the bottom of the South Island, we have come here today on the grounds of Parliament to say enough is enough. We the people are no longer going to be bullied anymore. We the people are speaking up and standing. And so we have come across from all over the country to bring our presence, to bring our feet, to bring our voices. And I just want to acknowledge every person here that has taken time out of your day, taken mahi off to come here. But let me encourage you, there are thousands of others that are standing in our towns and our cities and our regions where we have just come from, and we are standing together with one mind, and that's for freedom and rights. People, this is our fourth stand today. Within the last 2 months, we have turned up in our regions, in our towns, in our cities with our feet, and the masses have stood. Our first one was October the 2nd. And I must give acknowledgement to a courageous man, Brian Tamaki, who stood for every New Zealander, for every doctor, for every teacher, for every nurse, for every business owner. He stood for the freedoms and the rights of Aotearoa. The only man that had the courage to put his balls on the line, his mother on the line, his family, his ministry, himself, only to be ridiculed and persecuted and spent a time in jail, all because of the freedoms and rights of Aotearoa. So we have come here today. I come, even though he's been suppressed and he cannot be here. I come along with thousands of others, carrying his heart and carrying his voice. today. And we have come here today to say to this political system, no more segregation, no more separation, and no more discrimination. You cannot tell us that our freedom is found in getting the jab. You cannot tell us that our freedom is found in the vaccination. I'm not anti-vax, neither am I pro-vax. I'm pro-choice. And so today, we the people, we stand. No jab, no job, no jab, no restaurant, no jab, no cafe. What has this country come to? No jab, no haircut, I can't even go to the gym. But we stand today, not to bring awareness about freedoms and rights. We stand today and say enough is enough. We're here to get our freedoms back. We're here to get our rights back. And we're speaking to this political system, this Labour-led political system. We're talking to you to sit down and do it. Enough is enough. No more control. So just on that note, that was just my simple intro there. Whānau. I'm going to bring up this young man here who's just got some things to say because there's multitudes here. We want to get this message right across the nation of Aotearoa. Even though you're here with your presence, there's a social media message that is getting out, a vehicle, and so I'm going to call John up. Haramai, John, come quickly, my friend, and say what needs to be done. And then after John, can we get our singers up? They're going to lead us in our anthem, our beautiful anthem.
Hello everybody, good to be here today, but look, I just want to really quickly touch on social media. It's very important this day and age, social media, and I know a lot of people are getting off it, but we need to get on it. We need to take it over, because I tell you what, it's become a propaganda machine. And if anything, there's only one side of the story being told, so we're going to make sure the other side gets told too. We're going to do the media's job. So if anything, what I want you guys to do right now is pull your smartphones out right now, and if you haven't liked the Freedoms and Rights Coalition page on Facebook, you ought to start right now. Get your phones out, get on that Facebook app, like that page, Instagram, make sure you find Freedoms New Zealand, and the reason why is because we're going to send out communications through that page that are crucial. So you need to make sure that you're in the communications loop. There will be further social media moves that we're going to make, but we're going to make it together. It's not just one of us, it's all of us, and we've got to do our part. So part of that is get on that Facebook app, search up the Freedoms and Rights Coalition via that search bar, like that page, and be ready for action. Who's with me? Who's going to stand for freedom? We on. Kia ora tātou katoa.
Come on, whānau, let's sing this together. The best national anthem in the world. Ei hoa atua ona iwi mataura ata whakarongona me arohano. Kia
teachers, nurses. Well, actually I heard today that one doctor's got today and that's it. But a whole lot of people be losing their jobs. Yeah, boo! Say that louder. Boo! I think I'll bring on the next speaker, Paris Winiata, firefighter. Give a round of applause for Paris.
Kia ora whānau. First and foremost, I just want to acknowledge everybody that's come out today, that's travelled from near and far. You guys truly are amazing, and this is where the power is, here in your feet and in your presence. It's not in the beehive right behind us where people make decisions. Believe it or not, they're actually employed by you and me. They don't work for themselves, they work for us, the people. We did not vote for them to keep moving the goalpost and changing and changing and changing. We voted them in to be true to who we are as a nation, and where they're leading us is not where we ought to be. But I come before you today, not just as a firefighter, but as a husband and as a father. And during this Delta lockdown, my wife and I lost our 14-month-old baby. Those were the hardest days that anyone would ever face. Not just for myself and my wife as parents, mourning the death of their child, but for my family and friends who were not able to attend his tangi. The funny thing is, government said, get vaccinated, get double vaccinated and you can travel. Pass a COVID test and you can travel. Friends in whānau were double vaxxed, got a COVID test, negative, still not allowed to travel, to come and mourn with me in the time that I needed them most. But now it's not just me. There's hundreds of others that have suffered this time and loss of loved ones. And honestly, every single parent will tell you, you would not wish it upon your worst enemy. Your deepest, darkest days is when we need to have each other, standing with each other, loving on each other and supporting each other. Not isolating from one another, distancing from one another and living in fear of one another. I'm here to tell you today, New Zealand, that this is not your new normal. This is far from normal. We are here today to stand as a people to tell the government that your time is up. If you don't ship up, we're going to ship you out. We're not standing here waiting for another 3 years when the next election rolls down. We'll roll this place and take them out with a revolution of the people. So this is just the first fruits of what's yet to come, whānau. It's only going to get bigger, better and brighter for us as a nation, because when people stand together in unity, God commands a blessing, amen? I'm going to finish off with these three things that I want you to take home. The first one is, when we stand together, we cannot be stopped. The second thing is, this is not our new normal. And the third thing is, my son's name, which was prophetic 14 months ago when we gave him this name. His name was Goshen. Goshen speaks of a place that was set aside for a specific people in a specific time. Yes, it's a biblical name, but the Bible is not a history book. It's a prophetic book of what is yet to come. And look at what we have here today. So I'm going to finish off with that, whānau. Thank you so much. Continue to stand proud, stand tall.
Give a round of applause for Paris Winiata. speaker that I'm going to bring on is Heka Robertson. Give a round of applause for Heka Robertson. Oh, kia ora Wellington, kia ora New Zealand. I just want to acknowledge all of you who've come from near and far, and I just want to say it's great to have you all here today. I know today is the result of 3 stands that have taken place right up until now, and that brings us to the doorsteps of the people who we voted in to govern us, to make sure that we can live a good life in this country. So on coming here to the doorsteps of Parliament, I would like to thank you, Parliament. Thank you to the Speaker of the House for your kind hospitality in blocking us from getting up onto those stairs. We've got officials who are standing on those stairs. It's good enough for them to stand on those stairs, but it's not good enough for the people to get up there and to address the nation. What an insult. What an insult. I'm an Aucklander originally, and then I came down here 20 years ago to join that institution over there behind me. I spent 20 plus years slogging it out for that institution with a great salary, great job, along with all these amazing researchers and policy analysts and ministers and cabinet ministers. And our job was to clean up the mess that this country is facing. 20 years later, I see that we are in a bigger mess than we've ever been in before. And that's not the mess that existed on the ground. That mess has been inflicted on this country by the decisions that are made around the table by a few cabinet ministers and a prime minister who is power hungry. Let's get real. Is drunk on power. We have a despot government that has unfettered power to decide whatever they want. And you are not important enough for them to lay out the red carpet for you, coming from all over the nation, and for your speakers to stand up there on that stage. Well, I tell you what, you might try and hide us, but you will not silence us. And I know that there is a house full of people here who know exactly what I'm talking about. We will not go away. This is our house. We pay our taxes for this house, and we pay you to work for us. 20 years of strategies. I know that banquet hall well because we launched so many amazing strategies. 20 plus years later, we still lead the world in the worst statistics ever. It's embarrassing. We've got the highest suicide rates, our imprisonment numbers, housing's pathetic. And now we're trying to lock up our people and turn ourselves into a segregated country that is under the rule of apartheid. That's right. They're trying to take our water too. I tell you what, I'm not the most intelligent person, but I studied hard to get a law degree because I wanted justice for my solo mum, that she would never get kicked around by the state again. And I know when I studied law that they did not teach us that human rights could be played with any set of government politicians who come in and think that they can do that. That ain't going to happen on our watch. Never mind your watch, this is our watch. Jacinda and her Labour government. Well, they just had their party conference recently. It was dismal. The reports I heard from it that it was a dismal party, that they are starting to shake. Even they're having talks about how to make it easier to throw their leader. So something's going on there. When we have a Prime Minister who runs away from the slightest bit of opposition, who can't handle the voice of a mother screaming out for truth, she decides to close up. Let's close up this press conference and let's take it inside. That's the problem, Prime Minister. You take everything inside. We're outside here, and you may be trying to turn a blind eye to us, but you will not turn away from us. Honestly, the most positive
political conference that's happening right now, as far as I'm concerned, wasn't at the Labour Party conference. It's happening right here, right now, on our front lawn of our place that we own as Kiwis and New Zealanders. You know what? The date is 9/11. That's a world famous date, 9/11. You know what happened on 9/11 in America, but this is our 9/11 in New Zealand. And it is no coincidence that this date has fallen on today, and the people of New Zealand have come to signal the collapse of a government who has led the way in total carnage and destruction of our Kiwi way of life. We didn't come here for nothing. I didn't come here for a picnic, all right? You can go and have a picnic after this. I came here because you guys have got a habit of not listening to the voice of the people. I think Michael Jackson would have been pretty impressed with the moonwalk of our Prime Minister. She's starting to backtrack on some of the statements that she has made over the last week, where she can hear the protest of the people, the voice of the people who are saying, nah, we are going to stand up to the bully. Don't think that you can have your way and we sit there and do nothing. That's why you guys have come all the way from around the country to be here. She's backtracked on her comments around the Auckland borders. She's backtracked on some of her comments around the Christmas holidays. Because like, don't you touch my Christmas holidays. She's backtracked on some of the talk around vaccine mandates and vaccine apartheid and so much more. But you know what I want to say, Jacinda? We are not here to scare you. Although I'm sure you must be just a little bit scared, because this is just a representation of the rising number of Kiwis around the country. We are here today to say to you that we are taking the people's movement to another level. Jacinda Ardern, Prime Minister of New Zealand. The last time I checked, this was a democratic nation. Well, not only does everyone have the vote, but their vote does not count for nothing. Their vote tells you what you're supposed to do. You have forgotten that. You have trampled on the rights of all New Zealanders. You have violated the Bill of Rights. You thought, this is what you thought you could turn this into a communist nation, didn't you? And you know what else you did, Prime Minister? You released an army of terrorists in this country. You know who I'm talking about? Some of them are here today. The MSM, mainstream media. And this mainstream media, might I say, you've got them in your pocket, all right, because they have just released an onslaught of air attacks, of fear upon the population of this country to justify the unlawful COVID carnage on our economy, on our business, on our jobs and our families. And to all of my brothers and sisters in Auckland, we send you our love, because I know that this whole city would have been on lockdown if you could come down. Auckland is like a volcano that is waiting to erupt. And while that's happening, all this Prime Minister can do is throw carrots and crumbs to Auckland. We're coming down to level 3.2. Let's have a celebration, Auckland. Come on. Don't insult the intelligence of the people here today. All you've done is give Auckland a bigger television set in their prison cell. That's what you've done, Prime Minister. I want to speak to that house over there behind me. You see, there are 120 MPs in this House of Representatives today. Not one of these MPs has had the guts to stand up and represent we, the people, standing here today. Do you know what these MPs are saying to you today? They're saying that you don't matter to us. Not one of them has stood up and defended our freedoms and our rights. And so we've got midwives and firefighters and lawyers and doctors who are having to go to that courtroom to defend the very thing that that these 120 representatives are supposed to be protecting. Is that good enough, New Zealand? Well, they're in there, 120 of them. If they were doing their job, you could have been having a holiday. We shouldn't be here right now. I should be at home enjoying myself, visiting my mum in Auckland, being there for my sister's birthday. But instead we are here to try and do the job that 120 people inside that stone house could not do. Yet you entrusted them to do that. We employ them. We pay their salaries. We pay the police's wages too. Thank you, policemen, for allowing us to continue our peaceful family protests. You know, the cheek of this government to stand on our freedoms and rights. Put your hand up if you've ever signed a petition. Awesome. Okay, well, awesome, not so awesome. Put your hand up if you've sent an email. Keep your hand up if you sent letters. Who's done submissions? Well, we all know that all that amazing effort that you poured your life, blood, sweat and tears into has gone to nothing. I have watched on Zoom submissions as these politicians arrogantly dismiss your views. We don't care what you say. We know the truth, the one source of truth, supposedly, that comes from there. That's it. This government, is a word, has turned into a dictatorship. And we believe that the power is with us, the peoples, not you, the politicians. You know what, Prime Minister, and every other one of those 120 highly paid officials who were voted in by you, you campaigned for them, you walked the streets for them to get into there, to sit in their nice, cushy leather seat. Well, we are serving you today with notice as your employer. And it doesn't end there. An eviction notice will be on its way soon. Which one? I'm talking to you now because I know you're in there. I know those officers well. I can point them out to you. Which one of you in there has got the guts to come out here? Got the guts to come out here right now in front of New Zealand and prove that you care for these people? Which one of you will prove that you care about our freedoms and our rights? Because from what I've seen, you've been awfully silent on this. And in the meantime, our people are suffering. Labour Party doesn't stop there. The Greens, you're just as bad. National, you're just as bad. Act Party, you're just as bad. Māori Party, you're all in it together. As far as I'm concerned, when we have a government that can change the rules whenever it feels like it, then I'm thinking, well, if we knock you out, Labour, the next ones will be just as bad. So the people have to take back the power in this nation to set up a system where you cannot ignore the voice of the people. This government has been long overdue for an overhaul. And it's time for them to be called to account. Now, some of you have suffered. That's an understatement, eh? And I take my hat off, my heart goes out to the suffering that's happened here today. But COVID's choking the life out of us. I literally feel like the Prime Minister has got her foot on my neck and is choking any plans I have for a good future with my family. We've only had 31 COVID deaths today. No death is good enough. Nor are there almost 700 suicide deaths, or the alcohol-related deaths, or the drug-related deaths, or the violence-related death, or the mental health deaths, cancer deaths, and every other death. But I don't see this kind of extreme response to any of those things, that they are worth locking the country down. So you're saying some lives are more important than other lives? The outcomes are terrible. I know that the police in a report this year, they said that over 70% of their investigations came from mental health illness and domestic violence. Guys, we're in a sick nation. This is a nation that half of Europe are tripping over themselves to come and visit this beautiful New Zealand. Well, I've had friends who said, we wanted to come over there, but we can't believe what's going on. We don't want to come over anymore. And I'm thinking, stay away. You'll be coming to communist New Zealand. 69,000 mental health calls last year. Think about that, 69,000. And even by August of this year, there was already 47,000 mental health calls for the year. Family violence investigations, 15,000 to 17,000 a month, not a year. We're a messed up nation, guys. And it's no wonder we're messed up, because I can see what's happening in there. You know, as the founder of the Freedom and Rights Coalition, Brian Tarmac, he said, and I love his words, he said, do you want to live in dangerous freedom or peaceful slavery? Any kind of slavery is slavery. I would rather live dangerously. And by the way, Jacinda, you might think that you can lock that man up in Auckland, but you cannot lock up his courage, which has inspired myself and so many other courageous men and women. We've had movements, stands right through the nation. You can lock him up there, but you will never lock up the courage that has inspired all of us to be here today. You know what? Clean Green New Zealand. Come and visit our lakes, our outdoors, our beaches. But what characterises our nation today is lockdowns, levels, steps and traffic lights. All forms of control. Come on, COVID ain't killing us. Control is killing us. It's killing the life out of me. They've got to go. If you really want to be free, we can't have any of these things. None of these things have a right to exist in this country. And our government's unattainable elimination strategy, the only thing it has been successful in eliminating is our lives, our Kiwi way of life. Almost successful, but that all changed today, folks. Auckland is like a prison. This government's created a modern day apartheid. In my family, we are segregated now because my sister's vaccinated and we're not vaccinated, and so she's sitting here trying to figure out how does she get more rights and freedoms than her migrant mum who came from Samoa for a free country, and now her migrant mum who's in her latter years cannot do the things that she does, can't come to Christchurch to visit her newborn great-grandchild in this great land we call Aotearoa, the land of the free. Well, folks, I want to say to you in Auckland, who are in the largest concentration camp in the world, in the Southern Hemisphere, you're in a home detention centre, you'll still stay at level 3, step 2. Wow, we're going to be saying level 3, step 2.1.3. Honestly, there's nothing that I'll put past this government. I want to say that New Zealand, this is a hard thing. I don't know if it applies to you, I don't think it does, but New Zealand is letting Jacinda enslave us. And I tell you what, COVID, tell this to all your friends and family, COVID will continue to destroy and enslave us if we let it. And we are here today because we're saying, I'm not going to let that happen. So, what's my point? Where am I getting to? All of your discussions in that debating chamber have come to nothing. Heard some court cases across the road there. We've got the top lawyers in the country who are arguing our rights in the court. And we've got judges who act like they are sympathetic for the start, but at the end of the day, they come slamming down because they are all part of a corrupt system. We've got our doctors, our medical doctors, who are working so hard to prove the science. They're doing an awesome job for saving lives. The repayment they get is they're losing their jobs. And the health sector in New Zealand is going to be under further strain. Well, it's time for that to end. These are the policymakers right in front of you, Prime Minister. These are the people who will call the shots. And if I have to remind the 120 representatives who we beat the streets to vote you in, mind you, I didn't vote any of them in, so, you know, my hands are clean. There's no blood on my hands. But I'm telling you what, we are here not just for a picnic and to sunbathe. My bald head's going to be peeling after tomorrow. But it's worth it for my future generations. We've got some demands. Listen up, Prime Minister. I know you're going to have it of trying not to listen, but it'll get to you somehow, or your mates will give it to you. Number one, we've got some demands to make of you. Number one, that we, the people of New Zealand, demand that you revoke all workplace vaccination mandates immediately. Revoke them now. Revoke them now. I'm saying immediately because I've got so many mates for whom Monday the 15th of November is looming for them, that unless they are double jabbed, their jobs go down the drain. Sorry guys, I need to stop and take a breath because I almost can't believe that I'm here talking about this in this amazing nation we live in. That's our first demand. Our second demand, we the people of New Zealand demand that you, Prime Minister, revoke the discriminating traffic light system that segregates our society into two classes of people, vaccinated and unvaccinated. The last time I ever thought I'd hear that term was when it was black and white. Well, this is a new term that you have introduced into this nation. Number three, we the people of New Zealand demand that you move all of New Zealand down to level 1. I am tired of the carnage, the death, the destruction. It's about time we started to learn how to live. And we can live with COVID-19. Finally, our fourth demand is we, the people of New Zealand, demand, Prime Minister, that you remove the Auckland border. It is time to free the economic capital of this nation and set those people free so our economy and our businesses can come back to life and prosper. Now, I'm just going to take a break and that's right, a lot of emotions here today. You should be directed in that. I'm just trying to look around here because I don't know, I can't notice anybody out here. Any noticeable person come out here that you recognise? Can we see any representatives standing on those stairs? Or are they all hiding behind their curtains? Sitting in the cafeteria? Straightening their ties? While you guys are standing here in the hot sun, these are demands that we've made. Well, you know what? I'm not too disappointed, because I'm actually not too surprised. Not surprised at all that no politicians have dared to come out today. That's all good. That's all good, because you know what? Maybe the next time we come, we're going to have to come back with our very own New Freedoms New Zealand political party that will oust you guys out and take over. That's probably what we need to do. That's going to bring about the change that we demand from this Prime Minister. Yes, I'm speaking to you, Jacinda Ardern, on our house, on our front lawn, that we couldn't even make it up to the doorway. We got some timelines, Prime Minister, because we cannot continue to do what we're doing. And so this is it. That's it. You serve us. 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 Let them hear it. You serve us. Listen up, guys. Listen up. Listen up here. We got some demands. Quite. Beautiful. Keep that up. Keep that up. We got some demands. Because I don't have the rest of my life. I don't want to retire and I'm still on lockdown. I don't want my kids to grow up on lockdown. I want them to know the New Zealand I lived. Government, Prime Minister, we've got these 4 demands. You've got until 2 p.m. this Friday. 2 p.m. this Friday. If you don't hear that, you've got until 2 p.m. this Friday to action our 4 demands above. I don't need to hand you a piece of paper, you know what that is. No more mandates. What was the other one? No more traffic lights. Open up Auckland, level 1 for the whole nation. We'll give you until Friday to speak to these demands. By the way, if there is an MP who's bold enough to come out here, then I invite you to take our demands, so when you sit in the House this afternoon at 2 o'clock, maybe you can remind your colleagues of the voice of the people that voted you in. And maybe you might be able to get some action by 12 o'clock this Friday. If we're not satisfied, everybody here, you need to hear this right throughout the nation. You need to hear this. If we are not satisfied with our demands being met by Friday 12, this Friday, not next year, this Friday, we've waited long enough, then we will action the great gridlock right across this nation. We will action the great gridlock right across this nation. I'm telling you, you want to put our lives on hold? I'll show you what that feels like to put a nation's lives on hold. You can change this right now. You've got till Friday. If that doesn't happen by Friday, we are busy planning right now to set up and run the greatest gridlock this nation has ever seen. From Friday, Saturday the 13th, 11 a.m, right over until Sunday. Saturday to Sunday, and we're going to be on gridlock. You know what happens there, right? We were originally, listen up, we were originally going to do Auckland, Christchurch, and Wellington. And then the voice of the people right throughout the nation says, hey, 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 don't forget about us. We are hurting too, and we want to add our voice to what you're doing. And so it's not just going to be in 3 cities, it's going to be in every major city and town where there are Kiwis who care about their nation. We're not going to wait any longer, and we're going to say we are going to take our nation back. We're not waiting anymore. And I tell you what, Prime Minister, the chaos that is caused by this gridlock will be a representation, or a visual representation, of the chaos and the carnage that you have inflicted on the lives of New Zealanders when you think that at a whim you can just stop their lives just like that. Unfortunately, it's come to this that we have to take these drastic measures to make this government take notice and to make the rest of New Zealand take notice. We'll be waiting for your phone call, Jacinda. We'll be waiting for your phone call. You cannot ignore us any longer, Jacinda. Jacinda, at the square, we heard from doctors and lawyers, and we put a lot of hope in our doctors and our lawyers, and we commend the work that they do. The courts, the court places, we don't get the answers we want from there. And you know what, just because you are not a professional here today, whatever you are, your voice is no less important or powerful than a doctor, a lawyer, a legislator, a politician. Your life is just as important and your voice is just as important. So Jacinda, in all of your wisdom, with all of your research and your resources, and with all of your kindness, surely you could have come up with a plan that would respect and guide and look after every citizen of this nation and not just some. I'm saying to you, Jacinda, we're waiting for your call. You can't ignore us. We're not going away. And if you do decide to ignore us, you do so at your peril. I want to thank you, the people of Aotearoa, because what you have brought here today is heart. You have brought heart. You may not have brought qualifications or any kind of power in the courts or the medical profession or whatever profession, but your heart is the most powerful thing that you bring here today. And I want to say, take heart. Kia kaha, Aotearoa. We can do this. We can do this. This is my land. We can do this. I love you all, and I just want to say thank you to every single Kiwi who has turned out here today in full force. This is not just one day, this is the beginning of the end for some people and the beginning of the best life for the rest of us. So kia kaha Aotearoa, you are the hope for our future generations. It's time to get this country back to the best country that has ever been seen on the planet Earth today. So kia kaha, God bless, we love you all. Now listen up. If you want to stay tuned on what our next steps are, stay tuned to the Freedoms and Rights Coalition page. We need to walk in one accord. I know we've got a whole lot of flags, a whole lot of groups here today, but it's only going to take one voice of unity that's going to get us, or we're going to be splintered in all directions. Many streams have flowed here today, and what I see before me is a sea of unity. Let's keep it that way. Let's keep walking. This country belongs to us. God bless, love you all, and we'll talk soon. Bless you. Somebody give a round of applause for Michael Wellington. Right now, we're just going to finish off with a haka for that man's speech right there. That was powerful. That's the demands that have gone out. So every man, every woman that knows how to do the haka, we're going to do kamate. And so I'm going to get one of the guys to come up here and they're going to lead us in our haka. Turn towards Parliament House. People, if you know the haka, just listen to the lead of this man here.
Let's go, Aotearoa.
Again, we just want to thank everybody who has turned up from across Aotearoa, New Zealand. Thank you again for everybody that is here. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for your voice. And thank you for standing up. We will keep in touch. But just as you go, if you will give me the opportunity just to say a karakia and pray over you, ask God, because there is a God, I tell you, and we need him at this time. And so, Father, I pray for all these beautiful people. Thank you, Lord, for every soul that has come out today. I ask your protection, I ask your guidance and your blessing upon the people of Aotearoa. Let's make New Zealand great in the name of Jesus. Amen. Big shoes, Father. Oh, Father, as you make your way out, just look up.
Gather here before thy Why